Well, today we are honored to have on the show Dustin Helms from the Helms Group. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jeff. Glad to be here.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me.
Tell me more about your background.
Well, just like a lot of people, grew up in a middle-class family, kind of in a rural area. And, as I was growing up, I watched my dad, who is my idol, working 70 hours a week for someone else. And it was really an eye-opening experience. And as I got older, I realized that I didn't want to do that anymore and that there had to be a better way. And thankfully, it started me off at a very young age on the entrepreneurial journey to do something for myself. And I've owned quite a few businesses over the years. Some were big successes and some were epic failures. And I learned a lot from that. And then eventually I got into franchising, became vice president of a national franchise company that expanded all across the United States and eventually was sold to private equity. And then after that, I became an independent consultant helping people buy franchises because not only have I built businesses from scratch, but then I've also worked for the franchisors. So I've seen how they think and how they operate and what their objectives are. And then I also own a couple of franchises myself as well, too. So, I'm not afraid to take my own advice from time to time. And I think that's something that's important, too, because to be able to help somebody get to where they want to be, you have to be able to understand that level pretty intimately. And I think I can do that because I'm already doing the kinds of things that they ultimately want to do. And so I can let them know what to watch out for.
Sure. And I think one of the things that makes you successful is that you're really passionate about this. This is not just a way to make a living.
100%. It's absolutely a labor of love. I take it extremely seriously. People come to me and they're fed up with corporate America, rightfully so, and they're looking to do something different and bold. And they're oftentimes putting their entire life savings at risk. That's terrifying. You can't screw around when you're talking about people's finances. So, I ask a lot of questions. I really get to know them, figure out what's possible. Sometimes what they're looking to do just isn't possible. And if that's the case, I'll tell them that too. I feel like being an entrepreneur, Jeff, you have kids, right?
Yes.
It's like, before I had kids, I've got a 3-year-old. Before I had kids, people would say, "Oh, having kids is the greatest experience you'll ever have in your entire life," right? You heard that before you had kids, and you probably tell that to people now too. And you can't really understand that until you actually have kids. And entrepreneurship is exactly the same way. I can sit here and I can tell you all day long it's one of the most rewarding experiences that you can ever have in life. But until you do it, you can't really understand it. And so that is the mission that I'm looking to help people with, is to help them understand what entrepreneurship is, what it isn't. It's not bliss. It's hard, challenging, lots of things that you're going to have great days and you're going to have horrible days and everything in between. But I can't imagine getting to the end of your life and you're on your deathbed and you think back at where you've been and your journey and wonder what could have happened if you would have just tried to take that leap to do something for yourself and for your family. And maybe if you have kids, for the next generation.
Wow.
Right? It's incredibly important what we do. And the most important thing too is we're a free service. So it costs nothing to use us. So if you've ever thought about being an entrepreneur, try. And the best way to try is take the first step and find someone like myself or anybody that you feel comfortable with to learn more about it, because you have to get educated to be able to make a good decision. And that's what I want to do, is help people get smarter about franchising.
Dustin, you're just an inspirational guy. Tell me one of your favorite success stories.
I've got a gentleman, this is a recent example. This is about a year ago. Comes to me from corporate America, fed up. Corporate America is rough out there. Making a good living, so hard to leave that. 4 kids he has. So we start going through our process. Long story short, finds a business. a plumbing company of all things. This guy knows nothing, knew nothing about plumbing. And fast forward a year, 1 year, Rookie of the Year, and the largest plumbing franchise in the United States. So they're bringing on tons of new franchisees. He was number one, Rookie of the Year, already making more than what he was making when he was in corporate America. And it's only his first year, changing his life in a major way. And so that's what gets me going in the morning.
Okay, we're almost out of time. So final thoughts. What would you like to leave people with?
You know, I think there are a couple of really difficult steps in the process of thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, or more specifically, getting into franchising. And the first step is being curious enough to explore it, right? The first step of saying, you know what, maybe I will consider something like this. That's the first step. That's hard. The other thing that's hard is after we spend months and months together going through all these different concepts, and you get to the end of the road and you know it's the right business, but it's time to send a wire transfer for more money than you may have ever sent before, it gets real. And that's why our process is so important, is because if you go through that process, then when you get to the end of that process, you know it's right, without a doubt in your mind. And so it makes that transition easier. Plus, it's always like a lot about business and entrepreneurship is what's up here, right? It's your mindset. And so if you know you've done all the right steps and you know you found the right business, then you go into that business with the right mindset, which sets you up to be successful. Because if you buy a business and next thing you know, you wake up one day and you own a donut shop and you don't even eat donuts and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on, right? You're probably not going to do so well. You might even fail, right? So process is important. Take the first step. Call me, get in touch with me, and let myself and my team show you what we do, how we do it, and we can start your journey today.
The great Dustin Helms. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.